Hello and good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, good night. I think I'm live. So, again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. I'm looking live. Let me know if you are hearing me and seeing me. I am supposed to be live on LinkedIn, a couple of Facebook channels, live on YouTube. Let me know if you're seeing me and hearing me, first of all, right? Super, super important. Let me see. All right, looking good, looking live on LinkedIn. And let me see if I'm live on Facebook. Yes, looking live on Facebook. I always check the YouTube after. Um, so I think that I'm okay in terms of the fact that I'm live. Live, and let me know again if you're here hearing me and seeing me. If you are hearing me and seeing me, folks. All right, so this live, I'm trying to do these lives and knock out these lives, and excuse my sniffles, as you know, I don't know, these are allergies at this stage in my life, very, very weird. But let me know if you're hearing me and seeing me. I've kind of exhausted this topic of, well, I don't know if I've exhausted it, but I've spoken a lot about job loss and building income. And I want to talk about something I feel that is a little more exciting and not as depressing, which is location independence, and something I guess I didn't fully grasp until I moved to Vietnam. So again, just let me know if you're hearing me and seeing me. I am supposed to be live on a couple of Facebook channels. I am live there, live on LinkedIn. I saw that I'm live on LinkedIn and I'm live on YouTube. For some reason, getting some problems to connect on X. Hopefully I can get live on some other channels very, very soon, right? I'll try to build that in. But I want to talk about location independence. And I kind of want to, today I've kind of completely changed the way I think about income and future, right? Too many things have changed in the last 2, 3 years, right? And I want everybody to sort of begin to think, or everybody who is joining the live or who might look at it on the replay, imagine being able to earn income. That's the first thing, to earn income in whatever form or stream that comes in without you having to physically be in one office, be in one country, or be in one city, right? Or even working for one employer. In fact, that's, all the gurus, that's where they seem to be pointing at. We'll see where that goes. But that we're going to get more, the working world and the job world is going to change, and it's going to get more entrepreneurial in nature, and we might be working more like, persons who work on different types of projects depending on our specialization. We'll see. But I want you to begin to think about, if you didn't have to be tied to one employer or one office, one location, one country, one city, and still, even in mentioning that, I'm not talking about packing up tomorrow and you quit your job and you migrate or anything like that, or you become, what we think a digital nomad is, right? I am really talking about giving yourself some options, right? And what was reinforced to me over the last year or so, last 9 months or so, is that you could really design your income and your career very differently to what, the way in which we were taught, or at least the way in which I was taught, right? I'm in my 40s. I have a teenager, right? And in a few years, that'll not be the case, right? So I'm living the reality right now. And, I like to share, I prefer to share my own experiences because that's the most authentic way to share, right? To let persons know my experience. I can't speak from anybody else's experience, but September of 2025, I relocated to Asia. Well, more specifically to Da Nang, Vietnam, right? And I've explored some territories out here. And moving here forced me to look at my business in a different way, right? In terms of the whole planning leading up to that move, right? I was in a space where I was thinking, okay, the pandemic happened, we became a little more remote. I was engaging with clients more and more online. Classes were being delivered online. And I said to myself, I don't necessarily think I need to physically be in Trinidad to be able to operate my business or earn an income, right? And so, um, I kind of had to ask myself and kind of look at what I was doing and say, okay, so you've built something here, you've gained expertise in marketing, you do lecturing, I'm in consulting, personal branding, I talk about LinkedIn a lot. And can I make this work from anywhere, right? Can I make this work? And that's exactly what I've been doing for the last almost a year, right? September. That's what I've been doing. I continue to lecture. I continue to lecture online. I continue to consult with persons online. I'm delivering workshops. I'm working with more and more clients globally, and I continue to kind of push my personal brand and build my brand on LinkedIn. I've created digital products over the years, but I'm trying to focus a little bit more on that. I've explored affiliate income. I just recently spoke about that in a blog and the opportunities that has, brought, right? And other opportunities that are happening online. I have been able to do quite a bit more than I anticipated with my laptop and internet. In fact, I will say, when I visited Malaysia in March of this year, I had kind of I was there for about 10 or 11 days, and I had kind of kept all my classes, tried to not have classes, but I had to have one because it was the first one for that particular, new cohort. And I remember just taking my laptop from the room, going to the kitchen in the hotel, and I had my class right there, right? Um, and here is what is interesting, eh? Living in Southeast Asia has really exposed me All right, Jason, let me know if you're hearing me, or persons who are online, let me know if you're hearing me. My goodness, let me know if you are hearing me. It looks like that, eh? Let me check back my audio. Let's see. All right, let me check and see if I'm hearing myself online. Oh my goodness, all types of things occur at times, eh? But let me see if I am hearing me here online. Okay, back on. Okay, thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate that, man. Oh my. Okay, so I should go back a little bit, right? I should go back a little bit to what I was saying. What I was saying was, I was just saying, okay, I hope this is back to where I kind of pause. That I meet a lot of people out here, and the people are maybe what is the most, um, I think has been one of the most interesting parts, right? That living in Southeast Asia, I'm exposed to a lot of different types of persons or digital nomads, right? People who think about earning income in a different way, because many persons are fit different roles, and that's why I said they look and they come in different packages, right? I meet single people, I meet people who are, couples alone and they're traveling with one dog. You have full families out here, families of four, of six, right? It could be white or black or brown people. It doesn't matter, right? And that is what I think was one of the greatest things that I've experienced out here, is really seeing and meeting real life people, not just, the stories I see on YouTube, but actually meeting some of the people I've seen on YouTube as well. So that is kind of cool to, to meet them and see them, have coffee, those types of things. I meet people who have two forms of income. They have three forms of income. Sometimes they have more, multiple sources of income. As I mentioned, sometimes they are remote workers, but many of them are freelancers, just like myself. They will do consultation. Some of them teach, as mentioned. We had one on one of our workshops. They create content, they um, they run their businesses, they sell digital products, they work remotely. And that combination of the different income streams gives them that kind of financial freedom. And not only that, the theme of what I'm discussing today, tonight, this morning, which is location independence. And that has gotten me that made me think, right? More seriously about what is possible for all of us, not just me, but I mean, it reinforced it for me. But this is why, I'm coming on the live, and this is why I create some of the programs I create. It is because I'm seeing what is possible, and I'm hearing the frustration from some professionals and individuals, and it's important to understand what is possible, right? So now I want to make this, I've had a conversation offline with another colleague, and I want to say this, right? Location independence does not mean that you have to get up and move. You don't have to move to Vietnam or any part of Asia, or Thailand, or anywhere. You may very much love exactly where you live, right? I mean, I love and love the Trinidad and Tobago, right? Um, when I talk about location independence, what I really mean to say is that it gives you the option, right? Um, that you could live and earn really on your terms, right? So it's not necessarily about picking up and leaving per se. It depends on what you want to do, right? But maybe, let's say, maybe you want to spend 3 months or 6 months somewhere else. That's kind of what I said initially. Okay, I'm gonna spend a year out here in Asia, right? So you might say, okay, I want to spend 3 months, I want to spend 6 months somewhere. Is that possible now? Absolutely. You may say you want to travel more. There are lots of persons who want to see the world, they want to travel more. Fantastic, right? You may, many of us prefer to work from home, right? Some of us, not everybody, but some of us prefer to work from home. They just like that comfort, right? Many persons enjoyed being home for the pandemic. Some didn't, but many did, right? And so you may want to work from home. You may want to relocate eventually. You may want to work with clients outside of your host country. All that is what I mean by location independence, right? The idea is that you can change the circumstances that exist now, and you can create a way in which you earn income from multiple sources and not a single source, because a single source is ideally a risk and may disappear, right? And that is the freedom that you want to get. And for me, that has been and is perhaps one of the most exciting things about building an online business, right? That is, it's really the freedom. That's what I enjoy. The freedom to be able to shift and move and not feel closed off, right? Okay, all right. Nice, Sharon. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, I think so. I think we are at different stages in our lives. So, you might prefer to do one thing at one point and then another thing at another point. I think I'm still fairly introverted. So, one of the things, there are people who like go to coffee shops every day here and work, and I'm kind of okay with my space here and my kind of home office here. So it really depends, right? And that is the beauty of kind of navigating and creating what it is you want and what it is you are looking for, right? So sometimes when I talk about online business, people will ask me, Debbie, what can I do, right? What is there to do? How can I start, right? And I always say now, start with what you already know, because that's what I did, right? You don't even have, people feel like you have to come up with these big grand ideas. Hi, Serena, how are you? Nice to see persons are joining on. Yes. Um, I tell people, start where they are. Start where they are. Start with what you already know. It's the easiest space, and it's perhaps the first space to kind of um, begin the audit and the introspection to then decide where it is you want to go. Right? So again, if you're in HR, I talk to lots of HR persons, and you want to offer career or interview coaching, yes, that could be done digitally, right? Or online. If you're a teacher, well, I think I've exhausted that for a lot of teachers, persons who have become to the Beyond Borders webinar. Then I had a workshop. Yes, you can teach remotely, you can teach internationally, you can develop programs, as Western English speakers, there are lots of opportunities to kind of tutor students internationally. So that is an option, right? if you are a manager and you have some sort of specialization, of course you can do consultation. I mentioned in my last live that I have a colleague who has spent many, many years in customer service, and so has done a lot of training and development of people. Yes, you can do that, right? In fact, like, I saw a vacancy asking for some customer service training out of Asia maybe a week ago, if not so much, right? Um, I also spoke in the last live about a plumber, because I do get persons who say, well, Debbie, we're not in these, the circle of the HR manager and marketing manager and those things, right? But, I've spoken to a lot of persons, right? Persons who have extensive knowledge in cooking, baking. The example I had was a plumber who had a lot of he has a lot of experience in water and waste treatment and all these things, right? And I'm hoping he has already explored. I saw he has his website up and all those things. But again, even a person who is in some sort of trade, that plumber could create online training, could create certain types of guides. Actually, that guy has a fairly good YouTube channel where he shows a lot of the things he does, and a lot of DIY stuff for persons at home, right? Like cleaning out your guttering and all these things, right? um, you could do virtual educational consultation. So even in the medical field, that is possible, right? So many of us already have skills that we might think we cannot digitize, but we absolutely can, right? And right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I think people are just people grow up and they think of what they do in one traditional way, but the truth is we can digitize a lot of what we do. So we don't necessarily need to invest in a new idea. We don't need to invest in something completely new. We already have a career. Our career has given us our own intellectual property, something that is unique to us and that we own. We have already accumulated all this knowledge. We have solved problems and outed fires in the organizations that we have worked in. Um, I'm certain that many of us have developed systems, procedures. We have learned lessons. And the question here really is not that you you don't already have something there and you already have a good idea. The thing is, how do you begin to package that into something that another person will pay for, right? That is where we have to kind of move, and that's where we kind of have to be, right? That's where I see. So, I don't want to romanticize the location and independence too much. I'm a realist. So I think it requires work for sure. Building an online business requires work, right? Um, it you have to find clients. That requires work. You have to get up and market yourself and build your brand. That requires work. Um, you know you have to put in the work days. You have to put in the work over months. Income will fluctuate, but you can put things in place to begin to have a steady pipeline. It's possible to learn. It's possible to learn. There are markets out there. You have to be comfortable with selling. You have to be willing to learn and change and be relevant. And that's what I want to share, right? Again, you don't have to quit your job. I'm not telling anybody to quit their job. If you have a job, you can create even more stability for yourself by building a second business or a second income stream, which I think is a much more sensible approach, right? So here's what I want you to think of, right? Because as I begin to wrap up, and I know over my 20 minutes, which I try to stay with, right? But I want you to begin to think, because we're in August, what life will look like in 2027. Um, Not just your job, but your life as a whole and your quality of life. Would you like another source of income, right? Would you like international clients? We talk about that in the Caribbean all the time to kind of get international clients because we want to earn the US and those types of things, right? Would you like to travel, right, and still be able to earn, right? Would you like to turn something that you are passionate about or something that you've been wanting to try into a business, right? These are the options, and you don't create your life overnight. You have to start to build it, and you have to start to build it now, right? You have to start to build it now. So that is why, again, I created this new program called Employee to Entrepreneur. It is a 90-day business accelerator program. It runs from August the 12th, which is next week, to November the 12th. And I'm working with a group of professionals, a small group, who are, are essentially ready. You want to begin you want to begin to turn what you know into a simple online business. So we're gonna start with your idea, right? We're gonna be able to order that and see how best that works with some market research. You are going to create an offer, a product offer, or a service offering. You're going to price your product. You're going to build your personal brand. You are going to, create content and build an online presence. You're going to do your marketing. There are more and more digital payments coming out, so you're going to be able to say, okay, how can I earn and how can I connect these various digital payments? You are going to get your first client, right? In this program, you have to get your first client within these 90 days and be able to launch, right? I plan to have 4 live training workshops. We're going to have like um, WhatsApp support. We're going to have weekly accountability. Of course, you're in a small private community with other persons who are beginning to build their business. So you're going to have that type of support. Again, lots of conversations, I'm going to have some experts on this side of the world that are building their business come in as guest speakers. We'll have a lot of templates, resources, that type of thing, right? I still am emphasizing that you have to do the work. We have specific activities that you have to do in order to get your business up and running. So I will provide a roadmap, and also provide support and accountability, but of course you have to take those steps, right? You have to kind of walk that road, right? If you are prepared to commit to 90 days, then by November you can actually see your business and you could say, hey, I've launched my business. And as you get into 2027, you know that you are now in a space where you are creating another option for yourself. So if you have been, I've spoken about job loss enough, and I think the location in the Pendants is a nice, I think a lot of us want it, right? A different kind of life. So if you have been thinking about just giving yourself that type of freedom a little bit, and you have been thinking about, having another source of income, I want to invite you to my program. It is totally possible to build a business out of your own expertise. So I want you to feel free If you want to chat with me, you know, I did mention that in the last live. My WhatsApp is 868-683-4928. Feel free to message me. Let's have a little chat to see if this program is right for you. Um, Again, you don't have to have everything figured out. I've told persons this. I didn't have everything figured out, and those are the spaces to start in. Because if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting for everything to fall in place, the truth is it doesn't. It never happens. It absolutely never happens. So you need to actually just begin and take those steps. You don't need to you you just need to start. You need to take action, right? So registration is open, and um you know, I would love, love, love to see you there, and I would love to support you on starting to build something that is yours. All right, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow. Um, for those in the West, have a great evening, a great night. Of course, it's early morning here for me here in Vietnam. It is not so early. It's minutes to 8. I'm going to kind of go off to the gym now, right? So you guys take care. Have a great evening and bye bye.